Hi, Stitchers! Welcome to Tatreez Talk, where we share conversations about Palestinian embroidery. I'm Lena, here with my co-host Amani, chatting with talented embroiderers and artists, sharing their stories, inspirations, and the cultural significance behind their work.
And on today's episode, we are chatting with our friend Yaza. She is a Palestinian Italian Tatreez artist, enthusiast, and public health worker. Welcome to Tatreez Talk, Yaza. We're thrilled to have you here.
Thanks. Hey, y'all.
Hey. I didn't say it because I don't want to mispronounce, because I mispronounce everything. Palestinian,
Palestinian,
Palestinian Italian.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious, but I'm
No, we love it. Girl, I'm corny. I love corny things.
Oh my goodness. Okay, our fellow Palestinian. We always like to start by asking our guests about their personal Tatreez journeys. What brought you to this wonderful art form of ours?
Yeah, I definitely stumbled upon Tatreez by accident. So it was 2020, the world was shut down. There was not much to do. And my brother and I decided we were going to road trip to Michigan to visit some family. And my aunt, she's really like shatra with like khiyata and embroidery and everything. And so I was watching her do a piece and I had no idea that you could do Tatreez by hand. Like that was the first time that I'd ever seen that before. And so I was just like so mind blown, and I started asking her questions, and she had all these books. And so she was showing me all of these like patterns from all over Palestine, and just showing me some of her hand sewn thobes. And it was just something that was so inspiring to me because I'm a really like artistic person, and I love to like find ways to connect with my identity and my artistic side at the same time. So that's kind of where it started, and I've been kind of obsessed with Tatreez ever since. And
that happens.
Yeah, it takes over.
Once the first book cracks open, like it's not
game over there.
Game over. That's it. Tatreez rabbit hole all the way.
100%.
So then, Yaza, what was your first project then?
I actually made a bookmark, and I finished it while I was with my aunt, and so I still have it. And then I did like a ton of bookmarks, and then started to move up slowly to like pillowcases, and then like little patches on like pieces of clothes and things like that. So definitely started small, but it's gotten progressively bigger as time has gone on.
Yeah, you've already started your thobe.
Yeah, it's gotten really big. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thobe, it's very big. It's taken like 2.5 years, and I'm still not done, but we're working on it. But that's definitely the biggest project that I've done.
Yeah. And your thobe is for your wedding, correct?
Yeah.
Our arusa is getting ready for her wedding by hand stitching her thobe. And we... Girl, you gotta be louder.
I know.
Oh my
God.
The falaha comes out sometimes.
Yeah, no kidding.
So our arusa, how did you decide, like, I'm tackling this project, I'm doing a thobe for my wedding? Like, how did that come to be?
So originally it wasn't going to be for my wedding. It just took so long that I was like, I'm going to debut it at my wedding because
this sounds really familiar. Yeah.
Lena can relate.
I can relate.
I was like really...
Naseeb, guys. It's Naseeb.
It is Naseeb, honestly. Inshallah, I finished it. I'm like so close. But I think I was actually about to go overseas and live overseas, and I was thinking about ways that I could continue to do Tatreez, and I was thinking, well, maybe this would be the time to do a big project. And so I started my thobe, and I continued, and then eventually I was just like, you know what? I think this would be a really good way to celebrate my wedding, and so that's just kind of how it came to be my Arusa thobe.
No, and Yaza, pro tip, the best time to debut your thobe is at your wedding because you've already paid for a photographer.
That's so true.
These are the best photos I ever took, like bump the wedding part, bump the ceremony. I told the photographer, focus on this. I had him really for like an hour focused on this dress, both worn and on a hanger. And that was how I got the photos. So do it. Give them some guidance because sometimes they need a little bit of guidance,
They need to know what's important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so smart. You already have the photographer. It's like, I don't care about getting married. I'm literally I'm debuting my thobe.
I hope your fiance does not hear this episode.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I'm excited to get married to you, but I'm also really excited.
Oh my God, I can relate to this so well. It's amazing. Oh, so good.
Thanks from you. Thanks.
So Yaza, tell us more about the thobe. Like, how did you decide on the motifs, the colors, the fabric? Tell us the whole journey.
Yeah, so originally, I was thinking about doing a black and red thobe just to kind of make it like the traditional one. And then I saw Ramallah thobe, and I loved the white and red. I just thought it was so striking and like very visually appealing. And so I was like, that's the color scheme I'm gonna do. I thought about adding colors, but I am personally not like super comfortable with colors yet. I'm still trying to work on it. I'm very inspired by all of the pieces that I've seen where colors are just thrown around and it still looks beautiful, but I am not that confident myself yet for that.
You'll get there.
One day I will. But I was like, yeah, I love this color scheme. And so I started off with that, and I really liked the mixture of like geometric shapes with some of the curvilinear shapes as well. That was my idea from the beginning, was to kind of mix the different like textures and motifs and shapes, and also to put as much as I could from my own heritage. So as a Palestinian, I wanted to represent both the Palestinian and Italian side. Yes. Just like Lena, because Lena, you honestly inspired me with that in your thobe. And so I picked an Italian motif that I did up the sleeve, and then I picked some motifs that were from Haifa, which is where my jiddo is from, and then from Nablus, which is where my teta is from. And I tried to just kind of like put as much in there as possible about me. But then I also just picked things that I really liked too. I try to find symbolism in everything, but sometimes you just like things just to like them.
100%.
Yeah, so it was a really fun time just designing it and really going through all the books and like getting inspiration from what our ancestors have done in the past. I don't know if, I want to add more. I don't know if there's time, but I keep finding things that I want to add.
That's for your second thobe.
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly.
Exactly.
That's for your second thobe. I have a question about the Italian motif that you put on there. What does that represent? What motif did you choose?
So I don't know the symbolism behind it. I just had found it, and there was a JSTOR article actually about like Italian embroidery, and I was just like scrolling through it and I found it, and it looks very floral. Mm-hmm. And so I thought that was kind of cool because my whole front and back panel is like very floral and has like vines going up it. And so I was like, oh, okay, that kind of matches. I'm not sure what it means. I want to do more research on it, but I think it definitely complements like how the rest of the style is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how was the construction, Yaza?
So
giving you a big wink wink on the video.
Yeah, wink wink. I did menage, which was something I wanted to do from the very beginning, and it took a really long time, and I was really proud of myself. But anyone who knows me knows I like to get stuff done. I'm just like, let's just keep going. And sometimes I don't pause to like measure, like try it on and see. And I was convinced that when I finished my thobe would be the first time I tried it on. And I realized during our Tatreez retreat in Santa Fe that maybe I should try it on just to see. And because I did menage all the way up, it didn't actually fit me how it originally had. And I I remember I put it on the first time with my roommate Asmat, and my hands were like up in the air because it wouldn't go over me. And I was just like, oh no, this is like a total disaster. How did this happen? And like I was trying to figure out ways that I could fix it, but then I came to the group and kind of showed everyone. And that was actually one of the times where I really realized how important community is in Tatreez, because everyone was just like so invested in trying to fix it. And like,
I was so stressed.
yeah, I feel like everyone kind of like got the same emotions that I had. Like, I don't know, like just everyone was kind of like concerned and stressed, but we were all like, yeah, we're going to figure this out and we're going to get it done and we're going to make sure that it fits. And like, thank God for Mary and Kadi, because they like, I was originally just going to take out the entire panel and just start over, but they were just like, let's just take out some of the menagel until it fits over your head. And it worked. And so now I'm going to just add a gusset, and it's like actually an easy fix, but it was a very stressful construction process for a little bit there, but I think it's turning out. I think it's going to be all right.
It was a beautiful bonding moment. And just for our listeners who don't know, the menage stitch is a joining stitch that historically Palestinians would do to put together the panels after they had done the embroidery, so they can maybe envision it. Maybe we can include a link in the show notes to what menage looks like.
Yeah. And it's a very strong stitch.
Yeah.
It is a very, very strong stitch. So, yeah, that was a very stressful night, but I'm so glad that it worked out. And I think like just leading to that, like, what are some of the learnings that you've had throughout this process of making your own thobe?
It's definitely been a time of a lot of self-reflection, just because, you know, you're sitting with the same piece like for 2 years, 3 years on end, and it's just like a lot of times like just a time for you and just a time to like do something that like you're passionate about. And so for me, like my thobe is like a whole journey of like this whole chapter of my life, from literally like the day like I started was the day my jiddo passed away, later Hamo. And that was like such a big like moment for me, where I was like, okay, now like this thobe is going to mean so much more than if it was just like, you know, a normal Tatreez piece. It's meant so much in that like it's been a time for me to like heal, and also just to like connect to community in a way that I never have before. Like I grew up in Nashville, so that wasn't like a big Palestinian community there when I was growing up, and finding Tatreez has really helped me to connect with a lot of people from Palestinian backgrounds, and that's been amazing. Or like other people who are really into textiles and into like embroidery, so that's been really cool. So yeah, the Tatreez journey has been amazing. I don't remember your original question. Now I'm like, I just went on a total tangent.
That I do that all the time. Don't worry. I literally do that all the time. I did that in a voice note earlier today, like maybe 3 voice notes earlier today to Lena. Like, it's fine.
It happens all the time.
No, but what I was asking, which you were answering, is just really about like, what have you learned? Like, what are the learnings that you've gained throughout this process? And
I definitely learned throughout the process to like first accept and embrace mistakes. If you look really closely at especially my front panel, that's what I started with. There's so many mistakes. And I remember when I was doing it, I was just like, oh, I have to take this all out. Like, it's not perfect, and it's not how I want it to be, and people are going to notice. And I was really nervous about it. And then I actually was talking to my teta about it, and I was like, do you see it? And she was like, no, I don't see it. Like, it's literally like normal. And she was like, my grandma and my mom, when they did Tatreez, they made mistakes all the time, and they just kept going. They were like, you know, we don't have time to go back and take it all out just for one stitch.
yeah,
So that was a really big life lesson for me, I think, is just to like embrace and accept like that not everything's going to be perfect. I think another learning was also to like not be so much on like a deadline and on a rush. I think as an American and someone who's grown up in Western society, like we are so rushed for everything, and that's so ingrained in us. And I was just on this, and even now I'm like, I am still on a deadline. I have to finish it before my wedding, But before that, I was like, I need to finish this by this date, or like, I need to finish this by this date. And it wouldn't happen, and I'd get really stressed out about it. Um, so that's also been a lesson for me of like, not everything has to be in a timeline, and it can, happen as it happens. And that's like a beautiful part of the process. There are just so many lessons from the thobe as well as just Tatreez in general that I've learned about life. It's been amazing.
I need to embrace the acceptance of mistakes. As we know, I don't do that. But I think that's really beautiful. It's, it goes back to what we always talk about. It's like there's such a deeper story with not just your thobe, but like every piece someone stitches, but especially your thobe. And there's stories to be told that you can't even see, which I think is really beautiful.
Oh, totally. Yeah. So many stories, especially like when you think about like some of the thobes that our ancestors made and how they're starting to come back to us. I just think about that so much of like, what were their stories and what were their stories when they were making this thobe? Um, I just think it's really beautiful. I love that part of our culture.
Yaza, sometime I know that you're also personally passionate about Tatreez as a form of art therapy. And I know that Amani and I have spoken at length about this in terms of the process of stitching being very calming, very therapeutic. There's like a meditative nature behind the repetitiveness of it. Can you share a bit about how you've used Tatreez to deal with your own mental health?
Definitely, yeah. So as I said a little bit earlier, my thobe is kind of like that journey of how I found Tatreez as a form of healing for me. I've had a lot of mental health challenges throughout my whole life. Like I've had anxiety and depression, and I've never really had like, I guess like a coping mechanism that has been as impactful as Tatreez. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with like the meditativeness and like also the repetitiveness and just being present in the moment and doing something like with your hands. But it's definitely been there like for me, like at my lowest points. I think like when I lived overseas for a little bit. I lived in Sri Lanka, and it was a beautiful experience, but I was also there during COVID and during a really big political and economic crisis that made it impossible for me to like go to work or even go out and like meet friends or anything like that. And so I was basically alone, and I was like, at a low point, and Tatreez was there for me. It was something I could do to like really express how I was feeling and like express it artistically, and at the same time to like just cope with those feelings of like loneliness and heal. And then also just in general, I think like the communal aspect of Tatreez is really healing. I I really think just coming together, especially at a time like now with everything that's been going on in Gaza, like just being together in community and practicing is like a form of resistance, and it's a way that we can like really heal from all of the generational traumas that we've had, and to also just show that like we're still here and we still exist, and we're going to be proud about that, and we're going to make things that are beautiful, and we're going to make things that really showcase who we are. And so that's just like, I think one of the most impactful things about Tatreez's art therapy is just how much it can bring people together as like a place where people can heal together too, for sure.
Mm-hmm. I
Like
love
all
it.
the yeses. Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't even have anything to say because I'm just like, yes, I feel this like so deep in my soul. I
Yeah.
mean, we met, I know obviously you and Lena met, when Lena interviewed you, and then we met in person at, you referenced our Tatreez retreat, which we'll talk about at a different episode. But we met there for the first time, and it was like 2 weeks after Zionism took over with their genocide in Gaza. And it was really, really dark times. I mean, it still is, unfortunately, but it was really fresh. And we all came together. And so just you saying that, I'm like, yes, I felt that so deeply when we all came together in Santa Fe right after things started. And we just were together and stitching. And there was something extremely, extremely healing about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there are also like so many stories of our ancestors doing that as well. Like during the first Intifada, when they would like be under attack and they would be together, like stitching in the dark or like while they're being attacked. And
And
just,
under
it's,
curfew and yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like all of the things that they've had to deal with occupation and oppression. But like, I think it's just like for generations, it's been a way that we've been able to heal from everything that we've been through. And I love that it's continuing and starting to become like even more common. Like one of my cousins the other day, she was like, I really want to learn Tatreez because I feel like it would be a really great way for me to like connect with my heritage and then also just like deal with everything that's happening. And I'm like, yes,
I
I love that
love.
people are coming to this
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
it's amazing. It truly is like for me, I really think Totri has changed my life in so many different ways, and it's just something that I'm so thankful that I was able to like um, be introduced to and to start practicing. And so I really love that it's becoming like more of a thing in our generation, and I hope that it continues. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, so how about with using Tatreez as a form of connection or community with non-Palestinians? Have you had any experiences in that regard where you used it as almost like a tool for sharing our stories, just to showcase what's happening right now in Palestine and like the history and your family's connection?
Absolutely. I think it's been the most um, natural way to kind of like express my Palestinian identity and also humanize Palestinians as well. The best example I have of that actually is when I was overseas. One of my really good friends, she was like, we were rooming together and she saw me doing tattoos every single day. And she was just like, I don't know much about Palestine. I don't know much about what you're doing. Like, can you explain it to me? And so we would sit together, like, whenever I would be doing tattoos, and I'd tell her my stories from like my jaddo and my teta, and then like stories about tattoos that I was learning from my research. And it inspired her to like to pick it up as well. And she is a Black American woman, and she was just like, I think we need to like continue to like spread the word about this. And like she took it back to her community, and she's been like really educating people about Palestine in her community and like teaching them Tatreez as well, with like Palestinians obviously being there too, because she's like, I don't want to take over. But it's been amazing. And I think like it really, going back to like the humanizing Palestinians, like I think it really makes people like realize like, oh, you know, like they've got some really beautiful things in their culture, and like they're not just what we see on the news. If that makes sense. Like I've had a lot of even coworkers come up to me and they've been like, we don't know much about Palestine either. We see that you like do this form of embroidery and like we're really curious about it, and that like just opens the conversation and makes it something that's like I think very comfortable for people. But I think it's changing the narrative as well about like us and who we are. So I really love that.
Yeah. Art is extremely powerful in that way. Like it definitely transcends. I guess one question I do have for you too, like you were talking about your cousin wants to start the Tatreez, this friend you made while you were living in Sri Lanka, you introduced her to Tatreez. What would you say to somebody, Palestinian or non-Palestinian? What would be your advice on how to start Tatreez and get into this world?
Oh, that's such a good question. Um, I think definitely just to do it and just to like be brave and try it out. I actually like it's funny. My fiance Ahmed, he so he's in med school, so he's learning how to do stitches and things. And he
Okay,
came
not the
home,
same kind of stitches though, right?
not the same, not the same. But he came home and he was like looking at what I was doing, and he was like, I want to try Tatreez, but I'm kind of scared. And I was like, you should just do it. Like, just try. And I gave him my piece and I was like, just try to do a stitch and see what happens. And he was like, I think I'm going to mess it up. I'm so scared. Like, I don't know what to do. This isn't the same. And I was like, just do it. And I think that like he ended up like making a row, and it was great. It was beautiful. He did it perfectly. His lines in the back were so neat. I was so
We love
proud.
to see
Why?
it.
Why is he out of all the people to be scared to make a mistake? You know, like I would be scared to be stitching someone's body, not on fabric. That's so funny.
He
I love
starts
it.
stitching
so
up people in an X.
Literally.
Imagine.
Wouldn't that be fun? Like
What motif
Tatreez,
do you want? I'd like a
like
cypress tree, thank you.
personalize it. No, literally. And I think that's a big thing. I think people are so scared because they're just like, I'm gonna mess it up, or they don't know like where to start, and that's very valid. Like it's kind of overwhelming if you just have a needle and thread and you're like, how do I make something beautiful with it? But I think that's my biggest piece of advice is just to try it and just to be brave and definitely take risks, because Tatreez has definitely taught me to take a lot of risks and to do things that I never would have thought I would have done, like make a thobe. I love it when people are learning. I think it's so fun to just see how they develop like their style and like what they like to do. I think it's really cool.
I completely agree. And I agree with you on the just jump in. Who cares if you make mistakes? Like if I show people the back of my first piece, which I have right behind me in a blue tin.
I think we need to feature it on our Instagram page.
You should.
It'll inspire people, Amani. Come on.
She was messy.
That's okay.
But yeah, exactly.
I'll get a photo for you guys. Don't worry.
Do it.
Post it on our account. And I'll tag you as a collaborator too, Amani.
Oh
Don't
my
worry.
God. Anyways. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I completely agree with you. It's like, when you're starting out, it's fine. You're practicing, you're learning. I tell that to people all the time too. It's like, yeah, okay, you want to keep a clean back, but it doesn't need to be perfect. Like you just need to have that in mind. And eventually with patience and practice, you'll just continue to get better and better. And you'll start a 3-year project on a thobe.
Yeah, exactly. I like, even to this day, like my backs still aren't as clean as they should be. And if I think sometimes like I'll look at the back of my piece and I'm like, oh, I'm making like all of my ancestors cringe. Like this is terrible. Like, but then it's like, you got to just let it go. Cause you know, like not everything can be perfect, but yeah.
Yes. That
diving
is a
in.
great lesson. Not everything can be perfect. 100%. And I'm saying this out loud because I need to tell myself.
Make a needle mender of it. Not every.
I know.
And perfectionism or something.
Yeah, that'll be on the list.
So, Yaza, do you have any, what is the word that I'm looking for? What is that phrase when like you say something that not everyone probably agrees with? There's like a phrase for that.
Controversial?
No, there's like a thing where you say like, I'm going to basically say something that's controversial, but there's like a phrase.
Taboo?
No. Okay, forget it. I'll figure out later. But basically, do you know what I'm talking about, Yaza?
Oh my gosh. Yes. But I can't think of.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Not devil's advocate.
I'll put it in the show notes.
The show notes.
I'll put it in the show notes for anyone who cares. Are there any like opinions that you have that perhaps the majority of the people would be like aghast if they heard?
Oh, okay. For the really experienced Tatreezers, I think this would be kind of controversial. I prefer 6-strand string over pearl cotton.
I do too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's my Tatreez sin.
It really is, but it's like, I don't know. I do see why pearl cotton can be better for certain things. Like for my thobe, I use pearl cotton entirely because I think the 6-strand can fray really easily. But I just love how you can do so much with the 6-strand. Like it can change, like I think it can really change the whole piece. Like you can make the textures like thicker or thinner, and there's so much more of like a variety of colors that are available in 6-strand. So that's my taboo kind of controversial Tatreez related opinion.
You're in
We're gonna have to We're gonna have to evaluate whether or not we cut that out of the episode. Just kidding.
Like we can't let people start.
I actually don't have an opinion. That's the thing. I have like zero opinion about this. I use both. But yeah, I do know some people who are very opinionated and they have a specific favorite.
And I get it. I really do. Like pearl cotton too. Like I think the colors can sometimes be more vibrant and they like stay better. Well, actually, I don't know about that. Maybe it doesn't really matter because I've never really washed anything that I've had string Tatreez. But I don't know. I think 6-strand is great. And I guess maybe I'm a little biased because that's what I learned with too. Like my aunt was like super excited when she first showed me that it could be like more than just one string. And my mind was blown. I was like, how is this more than one?
It's also like more accessible. It's a lot easier to find.
Yeah.
Literally anywhere outside of the Arab world. The Arab world is like big on pearl cotton, but everywhere else it's like 6-strand. So don't worry. I will not shame you. I'm on team 6-strand as well.
Do you use 6-strand mostly?
I do. Well, because I'll be honest, when I started, I was a lazy girl and I went down to Michael's because it's down the street. And the only pearl cotton they had was black and white. I never used black. And I was just like, okay, like I'm a color girly. So I needed to get colors. So there was just a ton of 6-strand. I got that and that's where I learned. And honestly, I like the way the 6-strand lays flat. It's very soothing for my obsessive brain. Whereas the pearl cotton is more textured, you know, how it's like winded. And so it's a little more textured. So I don't know. It's just when I stitch, I like the flat thread. Now you're getting a peek into like my crazy brain, but
I didn't even think about that. Like it does lay flat, and pearl cotton kind of like sticks above the surface a little bit. Yeah.
There's also like, there's like tips with embroidery floss that can make your back very clean, like loop starting, which you can do with pearl cotton too. Which I gotta, it's on my list. I gotta do videos of how to do the loop start for people.
Although, Amani, I don't know, that video, like you showed me one time and I had to watch it like 10 times before it even like processed.
Before it clicked, I know.
Yeah, but it's brilliant. It's quite brilliant, actually.
I know. I'm like, I learn in person, but I don't know. Anyways, now we digress.
Yes. Okay, so Yaza, tell us. You're working on your thobe. Are you working on anything else? And what's left?
Yes.
What's left of your thobe?
Oh gosh. Well, my Tatreez is done. I'm gonna say that now, and it's on record. So now it's really done.
Yay! Congratulations!
Yay!
Mabruk,
Huge. Thank Allah yabarak fiki. So I'm gonna hopefully add a gusset so that I can fix the menage.
And can you tell people who don't know what that is?
You know, I wish I could, but I don't even really know what a gusset is. I know that it's like...
We'll put the definition in the show notes. This is the answer.
Yeah. And I'm going to also reference it because I'm just learning about it. From what I gather, it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a piece of fabric that goes underneath the like armpit area. And it just connects like everything together basically. And didn't they used to like change them out a lot? Like for thobes that
I actually have heard that. I actually have heard that for hygienic purposes. Yeah. And I think it also helps expand the space. So it allows you to kind of, because if you just fit the dress, like if you measure your arms and they're at your sides and you create the sleeves that way, like you need room for, you know, putting your hands, to move around, to dance at the wedding, you know. So that offers you a little bit more space without like making it a huge bag, you know, that you're wearing. But yeah, we will put the definition in the show notes, I promise.
Yes.
Thank you,
Definitely
Nina.
need it. Thanks,
My
Nina.
pleasure.
I love it. So what am I working on? Okay, so yeah, I am working on the thobe. Hopefully we'll finish that soon. I am working on the Gaza inspired piece by Maya Amir.
Tell us more about that in case no one knows what's on it.
Oh yeah, totally. So it is a Gaza inspired chess piece that is notating all of the Gazans who've passed since October 7th. And it's really beautiful. And I think it's something that I'd like to continue on until there's a permanent ceasefire. So that's something that has also been like a form of art therapy for me too, with all of this happening, is just stitching that piece and kind of taking a moment to really like remember the folks who have passed.
Yeah. And as individuals too, right? Like not as like just some big number, but that number represents in people. Yeah.
It does. And it's really jarring when you're stitching it too. It really makes it hit home. It's like, wow, this is not just, you know, however many number it is. It's actually like a lot of people. So that's...
How long have you been stitching that one right now?
That one I've started in, I think, mid-November. So a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Maya Mir, if you're listening. That it's just so beautiful, and I'm so happy to be able to practice with that piece. And then I also am I'm making a lot of like Tatreez inspired clothes because I want to be able to wear Tatreez more in my daily life. And so it's also a way for me to practice sewing because I'm starting to learn sewing, like shirts and pants and things like that. So I made my brother and Ahmed shirts that have Tatreez on it, and that's been really fun. And the next piece that I'm making is a shirt for me with Tatreez on it. I'm kind of in the design era of that particular project, and I'm trying to use Max Stitch, and I'm trying to learn Max Stitch, and it is
Painful.
It's kind of painful.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's
It
not
is
the most
really
user friendly.
Yeah, and I mean, y'all actually probably know better than me. I just, for my thobe and for any piece that I've ever done, I just look at a picture and I replicate it. I've never really had I never have really needed patterns in a way where I'm like, I have to count this many stitches. I kind of just do what I think. And I'm trying to develop that more of like, okay, it's actually good to make patterns because then I can like preserve it and pass it down to like my children, inshallah, and like future generations. So I'm trying to learn Max Stitch for this particular piece, but I think I'll just do like some Tatreez on the collar and the sleeves for the shirt. And then I also need to make something for my dad for his birthday, because his birthday is actually going to be our wedding day too.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So we'll sing him happy birthday too.
Yep. It was completely like by accident. But it's the only date that was available for the venue. So we're just like, Dad,
I think he's okay with it. I'm sure he's okay with it.
Yeah, he's okay with it. You know, he'll hopefully have more birthdays, inshallah. So
Inshallah. Inshallah meets Sana.
Yeah, inshallah. So I was just like, you know what? I'll make him a shirt just to make up for the fact that my wedding's on his birthday. So yeah, lots of pieces going on.
That's really funny. I mean, I don't know. I feel like my dad would have been thrilled if I got married on his birthday because that's like the best gift I could have ever given him was to get married. It was like, oh my goodness. Actually, I'm not going to say any more because he might listen to this episode. I'm going to rail him back.
Yeah. Chill.
Like he'll give to you. I think he was like secretly happy about it, you know? Like where he's just like, yeah, okay. And then he was like, but that's kind of nice. And I'm like, yeah, I know you like it. You can act like you like it. It's okay.
That's so sweet. We're so excited for you. It's going to be such a wonderful event. And yeah, you're going to look so beautiful in your thobe.
I cannot wait to see you in your final thobe. Like, I know it's going to be amazing. And you're going to look angelic.
Thanks, y'all. So sweet. I'm excited. I'm excited to finally like put on the piece that I've been working on for so long. And another part of my thobe actually that I forgot to mention, I'm gonna put a little piece of my jiddo in the thobe, in the chest piece, so that he can be there with me too. And so that's also like one of the reasons why my thobe is super special too, is because I like have a piece of his shirt and it's gonna be with me forever. And so another way that thobes can heal and Tatreez can heal.
Seriously, that is so special. And I hope it stays in your family for many, many years to come.
Yeah, inshallah. I really hope so. Because we didn't have any Tatreez after everyone left.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a new thing for our family, is just like practicing and having actual pieces that we can pass down. So that's also really important to me too, is like I'll get to hopefully pass this down to my daughters one day and keep it going.
Yeah. When does anyone else in your family stitch? I know your aunt does, who taught you. Is there anyone else in your family that also is a stitcher?
So my aunt and then her daughter Haneen, who's actually the person who introduced me to Lena a few years ago.
Which, by the way, we're gonna bring them both on the podcast.
Yay!
So we're gonna reach out to them.
The whole family.
Yeah.
Why not? We're all related if you really look at it.
Yeah. If you really get it down to like the family tree. But yeah, we're the only ones who are actively practicing. I think like my teta, she likes to knit more because she says she can't see like the holes and everything. Yeah, but she did say that was something that they like taught in schools, and so like they all learned how to do it. And I was like, that's so cool. Can you imagine if you like went to school and learned Tatreez?
We're such Tatreez nerds. Oh my god!
I know. I'm like, I hated school, but now I'm like, I know. Fun. But it's cool because it sounds like you're a part of bringing this tradition back to your family. You are reigniting what was lost from your ancestors because of colonization. So that's really beautiful. I know it's hard sometimes. Like I'm in the same boat where like my family, when they left, like I don't have anything. Like I don't have any thobes. I don't have anything except for like a few pieces that hang in my grandmother's house. So it's nice to be able to bring it back and revive this tradition. But yeah, now I'm getting like emotional, but I love that. It's just another testament to how special Tatreez is and how it truly is a part of our history and our liberation.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's such a big piece too, is like how much of it's part of our liberation. And really like showcasing to the world, like, yeah, we are here and we deserve to be here. And that's why it's so important to me that like the people around me, like my family, I guess, and I are wearing Tatreez, because I think, it's a way to really show that to the world. And it is a way to definitely feel liberated. So yeah, that's very, very true.
So Yaza, when you... Okay, no emotions. We need to save them. Save the tears. We got this. I wanted to ask you, so once you get that photographer to completely document in amazing ways your dress, okay, you're going to be sharing those photos, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And where are you going to be sharing those photos?
I will be sharing them on my Instagram.
Yay! Which is created as of today.
As of today, yes. I have not been on Instagram in almost 7 years, and the Tatreez community that I've connected with has very much inspired me to go back to Instagram.
Welcome to the world. So our listeners, you must follow her and give her some followers so that she can get all of the photos out to everyone. Oh, can't wait. So what is your handle?
Yes, it's at Yaza Saria. I don't know if this is possible on Instagram, but I might change it to Tatreezi. I thought about that earlier today. I was like, that's kind of cute, so I might change it. But for now,
we'll update the show notes if it changes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Try it out
first to know
before this goes live and then someone else takes it.
It's mine first. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us, Yaza. This was amazing. We love having this conversation. We cannot wait to see your thobe. We cannot wait to celebrate you. Anything else you want to say before you say goodbye to everyone?
Just thanks y'all for doing this, and I love that you're capturing like the stories of Tatreez, and just thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been so fun to talk with y'all.
Thanks for being here, Hayati. It was so lovely chatting with our girl Yaza. I was so emotional during her like whole conversation that it was kind of hard for me to talk because I
Aw,
felt everything
I
that she was
know.
saying. Like it's I feel it very deeply in my soul too. Like Tatreez is so healing in so many ways, and I'm so glad that we met her through this like Tatreez journey.
I know. No, I remember when her cousin connected us actually, and I was interviewing her. I was like, I love this girl. And somehow we like barely kept in touch. But we kept in touch enough to like have her join us at the Tatriz retreat. And I'm so happy. I was like not sure how everyone's gonna get along, and we'll talk about all of that stuff later. But she
Yeah.
like I don't know, I feel like anyone who does Tatriz and like gets it and has like this connection to Palestine through this art form, it's just like an immediate good vibe, good
Yeah.
time.
I think especially if they have that intention of like building community and like
Yeah.
supporting and inspiring each other, like because that's key.
Yeah.
I think one of the again we'll talk about this in a later episode, but what I forgot who said it, but someone said it at the end of our retreat where it was like, "This was amazing. This was like such a positive and supportive environment." I was like,
Yeah.
yes, that is exactly what we want and what we need. But yeah,
And she just exudes all that. Like it
she
just
does. She's the
her
best.
story is so beautiful. Her
I
family's
know.
so beautiful. Yeah.
I
And
was
her Tatriz is
so
incredible.
so
We need to get
yeah.
more photos, and I cannot wait. Like truly cannot wait to see her in her thobe. We got
Oh
a sneak peek at the Tatriz retreat. It's so beautiful.
I was so stressed out. Like I was so stressed out when it didn't fit. But I'm so glad
I'm
it
actually
worked.
very. I remember because not everyone was in the room when she was
No.
trying it on for the first time. I was. Were you there? I can't remember.
Not
I
the
wa-
first time I walked in and
Okay,
it was
yeah.
over her head and I was like, what's going on?
But she was so calm. I
was
remember
so-
this
she
because
was so
I
calm.
remember I remember thinking if that was me, I'd probably be crying my eyes out after all that work.
I would have burnt the hotel down to the ground. You saw when I
God
found
bless
one
her.
mistake on
I know.
my pattern.
Oh my
I
God, that's right,
freaked
yeah.
out. So yeah, no, she was so calm, cool, and like she was like, "Yeah, it's fine. Like we'll figure it out." I was like,
like
"God
like
bless
she was
you,
like,
girl."
what can I do?
I
I'm a
know.
little bit worried. Should I be worried? And we're like,
But see, I love it goes back to like what she was talking about with like her life lessons that she got from Tatreez and kind of like embracing the mistakes and
that's
just like
incredible. That's so
yeah,
incredible.
yeah, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Well, this was a great conversation, and I'm excited for the next one. But until then, thank you all so much for listening to Tatreez Talk. We want to hear your Tatreez journey stories, so please share your stories with us. You can email us at tatreeztalk@gmail.com, and we might even have you on an upcoming episode. Do not forget to subscribe on your favorite listening platform and be sure to leave us a 5-star review. You can follow me at Min Amani and Lena at Lena's thobe, and of course follow the pod at Tatreez Talk. We'll chat soon.